Is tech dead? That's the question everybody's asking right now. And I get it. You turn on the news, you see layoffs, you see AI, and you're wondering if you missed the boat. I've been in this game for 17 years, and I'm going to tell you the truth today. I'm not going to give you no clickbait or anything like that. Hello, what's going on? My name is Bill, aka Sub-Zero. I run Lifting the Veil IT Academy. I've watched this industry go from good markets, bad markets, hiring booms, layoffs, all of it. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that nothing's changed. It has. AI has changed things. Companies are laying people off. And getting into tech today isn't exactly the same as it was 10 years ago. But does that mean that tech is dead? Absolutely not. The opportunity's still there. But what companies are looking for and what you need to do to actually get hired is changing. Let's talk about it. Okay, first things first. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that layoffs aren't happening. They are. Real people are losing jobs. Experienced people are losing jobs. And yes, some companies are using AI and automation to do the work that people used to do. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it, but here's what I want you to be aware of. You see, company lays off 5,000 employees, and immediately the conclusion is tech is dead. Guys, that's not the same thing. Companies can lay people off in one department and hire people in another department at the exact same time. They can eliminate one technology, then spend millions of dollars implementing another one. That's business. Think about it like this. If a restaurant shuts down, nobody gets on YouTube and says cooking is dead, right? No, the restaurant closed, people still have to eat, and companies still have problems that technology has to solve. They still have databases, they still have reports, they still have dashboards, they still have cybersecurity. They still have information sitting all over the place that somebody has to come in and make heads or tails of. That's where the opportunity resides. Okay, now here's where the rubber meets the road. Because I don't want you to leave here thinking, well, Sub said it's okay, it's fine. All you got to do is just get a certification and start applying for six-figure jobs. That's not what I'm telling you. The market has changed, and I think the biggest change is the barrier to entry is higher. Companies can be more selective now. So just knowing the name of a technology isn't enough. Having SQL listed on your resume isn't enough. Having Power BI listed on your resume isn't enough. Having a certification isn't enough. You have to be able to show what you can do with these technologies. That's the question. Can I give you a business problem and you figure out how to solve it? Can I give you a database and a bunch of tables and you figure out what I need? Can you take some ugly data, clean it up, analyze it, and turn it into something useful? And then, this is the part that a lot of people forget. Can you explain what you did? That's what companies are paying for. They're not paying for you because you memorize what a left join does. They're paying for you because you know when to use a left join to solve their problem. That's the big difference. So if I had to start over again today, knowing what I know now after 18 years in the industry, what would I learn? I'm going to make it real simple. Number one, SQL. Guys, if you're trying to get into data, learn SQL. And I'm not saying that because SQL is what I do. I'm saying it because companies have data sitting in databases, and somebody has to know how to get that information out. But don't just memorize. Select from where and think you're done. Learn your joins, learn group by, learn case statements, learn subqueries, learn CTEs, learn window functions. But more importantly, learn how to think. Because that's what I'm trying to teach my students. I can teach you syntax. You can Google syntax. AI can give you the syntax now. But can you look at a problem and figure it out? What do I need to do to get the answer for this question? That's where your value comes in. Number two, I would learn Power BI or Tableau. Now, I know somebody's probably going to ask me, Sub, do I need both? No. When you're starting, pick one and get good at it. Personally, if you ask me where to start, I'd probably tell you Power BI, but Tableau is still an excellent tool as well. The important thing is understanding what you're actually doing with it, because you're not just building pretty dashboards. You're telling a story. You're taking information that might be sitting across 5 tables, 10 tables, or whatever it is, and you're turning it into something that a manager or a director can look at and understand. That's the skill. The dashboard is just the vehicle. The information is what matters. Number 3, build projects. This one is huge. Stop spending all your time collecting certifications and never building anything. Certifications can help you. I'm not going against certifications, but a certification tells me you passed a test. A project gives me something you can talk about. Give yourself a problem. Get some data, build a database, write some SQL, right? Create the data, clean the data, put it into Power BI, build a dashboard, find something interesting in the data, and then practice explaining it. Now, when somebody says, tell me about a project you've worked on, you got something to say. You know what I'm saying? You're not just trying to remember some definition that you memorized 6 months ago. You can say, here's what I built, here's the problem, here's the data, here's what went wrong, here's how I fixed it, and here's what I found. Guys, that's an interview. Now we get into one of my favorite parts, because this is something that I don't think we talk about enough. Communication. I know somebody's probably thinking, Sub, I thought this was supposed to be about technology. It is. But listen to me. You can know SQL backwards and forwards. You can know Power BI. You can know Tableau. You can know Python. You can have 15 certifications behind your name. If I ask you, tell me what you did, and you can't explain it, we have a problem. I've prepared people for interviews. I've interviewed people. I've watched students go through the process, and I'm telling you, knowing something and being able to communicate what you know are two different things. That's why I constantly tell my students, don't give me the answer, explain it to me. Why did you use that join? Why did you build that report this way? What problem were you trying to solve? What happens after you solved it? That's how you start sounding like somebody who actually has done some work. And that's what employers are actually looking for, and that's what they want to hear. Now, guys, we can't have this conversation in 2026 without talking about AI, right? Because I already know there's somebody out there thinking, so, come on, man. Why should I spend all this time learning SQL if AI can write SQL, right? That doesn't make any sense. You know what you write. AI can write SQL. AI can help you write DAX. AI can help you troubleshoot code. AI can help you analyze data. I use AI. You should use AI. But let me ask you a question. If AI gives you a SQL query, how do you know it's right? If it joins two tables together and accidentally duplicates millions of records, which I've had this happen, do you know enough to catch it? If AI builds a dashboard, do you understand the data well enough to know whether the dashboard is telling you the truth? That's the difference. AI doesn't make learning these things unnecessary. In my opinion, it makes understanding the fundamentals even more important, because now we got an incredibly powerful tool helping you. But you've still got to know what you're looking at, what you're asking it to do. So I'm not telling my students, run away from AI. Absolutely not. I'm telling them, learn your skills and learn how to use AI. Because the person who knows SQL and understands how to use AI effectively has an advantage over the person who only knows SQL. And the person who understands SQL understands the business, knows how to communicate, knows Power BI, and knows how to leverage AI. Now you're getting somewhere. That's the person I want you to become. All right, guys, let me tell you something else. You're going to see people online telling you, hey, man, tech is easy. Guys, tech is not easy. And I don't tell my students that it's easy. I tell them the very first class, guys, this is going to be work. I want you to think about it. Why would a company pay somebody $90 to, $150, $120, sometimes $200,000 a year if it's something you can learn in 2 days or something like that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. These companies pay this kind of money because they understand the value of the skills that you're learning. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to write SQL that doesn't work. You're going to build a dashboard and something's going to break. You're going to stare at an error message for 2 hours and be like, what in the world going on? Welcome to technology. We've all been there. The question isn't whether you're going to struggle. The question is whether you're going to keep going when you do. You don't have to be a genius. You don't have to have a computer engineering degree. You don't have to have 15 certifications, but you do have to put in the work. So let's go back to the question we started with. Is tech dead? No. Is tech still worth getting into in 2026? For the right person, absolutely. But I'm not going to sell you a dream. If you're looking for someone you can study for 2 weeks, get a certificate, and somebody lands you a 6-figure job, then this probably isn't for you. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to build, if you're willing to struggle a little bit, if you're willing to develop the actual skills instead of just some credentials, there is a tremendous opportunity in this industry. And I know because I lived it. I've been doing this for 18 years. I've watched technology change over and over and over again. The tools change, the platforms change, the buzzwords change, but companies still have problems, and they're still willing to pay handsomely for those who know how to solve these problems. That's the part I don't want you guys to miss. And here's the last thing I want to say to the person who's been watching and thinking about getting into tech, but you've been standing on the sideline, scared to start. Don't tell yourself no before anybody else even gets a chance to tell you yes. Don't let the headline make a decision for you. And don't sit on the sidelines for the next 2 years watching everybody learn because you're waiting for the perfect time. There's never going to be a perfect time. Start learning, start building, start getting better, and give yourself a chance. Because I can tell you from personal experience, technology changed my life. And I've watched it change the lives of many of my students. That's why I'm still such a believer in this industry. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. If you're trying to figure out where to start, go watch my How to Become a Data Analyst in 2026 video. I break the roadmap down step by step to show you exactly what I believe you should be learning. And if you're wondering if the money is actually real, go watch my video where I showed my actual check stubs. Not a salary I found on Google, not something I read on somebody else's website, my actual pay stubs. And if you're saying, Sub, I don't want to figure all of this out by myself, I want somebody to actually teach me, well, that's where I come in. I have Lifting the Veil IT Academy. We teach live. You're able to ask questions. You're able to share your screen. You can unmute and talk to me. You get my personal phone number. We build things. We do projects. And we're preparing you to actually be able to talk about what you know when you get into an interview. Go to www.ltvacademy.com. Check us out. And guys, if this video helped you, please like, share, and subscribe. Share this with your friends who's thinking about getting into tech, but is scared because of everything they hear on the internet. Subscribe to the channel, like I said, and remember, the opportunity didn't disappear. The standards just got higher. So go get your skills up. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and have a blessed day.